Welcome back, cosmic dreamers. Tonight, we dive into 100 strange facts about the Roman Empire and its dark secrets, stories that whisper through the ages. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you're enjoying this journey as much as I am. Where are you listening from tonight? And what time do you usually drift off? Now, let's settle in for a long night of wonder. The stars await, and our story begins. Amid the Roman Empire's rigid class structure, slaves were paradoxically among the first to be legally documented as property, a precursor to modern inventory systems. This legal recognition of human beings as chattel shaped societal norms that would endure for centuries. A slave's worth was often calculated in denarii, Rome's standard currency, much like cattle or land. For instance, a skilled gladiator might fetch the equivalent of 2 years' wages for a Roman soldier, roughly 20,000 sesterces. In this system, slaves were not merely commodities. They became an integral part of the empire's economy. Their labor fueled vast agricultural estates and bustling workshops across the Mediterranean. One particularly famous example was Spartacus, who led a rebellion involving thousands of escaped gladiators and other oppressed individuals. This revolt, though ultimately quashed in 71 BC, highlighted the fragile nature of this legal framework that bound human beings to property laws. Interestingly, the legal recognition of slaves as property also meant they could be granted freedom or sold off like any other asset through official emancipation documents. The process by which slaves were legally recognized involved a series of contracts and records meticulously kept by magistrates. This documentation ensured that every slave had their own unique legal identity within the empire's vast bureaucracy. For instance, in 27 BC, Augustus reformed Roman law to introduce more stringent regulations on slavery, including the requirement for slaves to have official ownership papers. These documents were akin to modern-day birth certificates, but served instead as proof of property rights. The scale of this administration was staggering. By the time of Emperor Trajan in 117 AD, there were an estimated 3 million slaves in Rome alone, representing approximately 1/3 of the total population. Despite being property, some Roman slaves enjoyed a degree of autonomy and social mobility within their limited sphere. Skilled slaves like doctors or architects could earn high wages and even purchase freedom if they accumulated enough wealth. This legal framework for slavery also extended to the treatment of prisoners of war, who were often sold into bondage upon capture. The sheer number of individuals involved in this system is mind-boggling. It's estimated that as many as 1/3 of Rome's population consisted of slaves at various points in history. Yet, these individuals were not just numbers on a ledger. They were human beings living under the most extreme conditions. The legal recognition of slaves had profound implications for Roman society beyond mere economic considerations. It influenced family structures and social hierarchies, as slave ownership became a marker of wealth and status among free citizens. In some cases, freed slaves could even rise to positions of power within the empire, such as through political offices or military commands. This phenomenon is exemplified by figures like Cicero's slave-turned-freeman Tiro, who became renowned for his administrative skills and was eventually granted Roman citizenship. Such stories highlight the complex interplay between legal status, social mobility, and personal achievement in a society deeply entrenched in the institution of slavery. However, an unexpected twist lies in the fact that some freed slaves chose to remain anonymous within their former masters' households, preferring the security and familiarity over the uncertainties of newfound freedom. Understanding this system also provides insight into how modern concepts of property law developed from ancient practices. The meticulous documentation and regulation of slave ownership laid the groundwork for future legal systems that define ownership rights over tangible goods. This legacy continues to influence contemporary debates on human rights, labor laws, and even intellectual property. In essence, the Roman Empire's approach to slavery not only shaped its own society, but also left an enduring mark on legal frameworks across the globe. As we reflect on these practices, it is crucial to recognize both their historical significance and the ethical challenges they present in modern contexts. In the year 41 AD, Emperor Caligula was assassinated by members of his own guard, despite proclaiming himself a deity and demanding divine honors from his subjects. He would often command his followers to worship him as if he were Jupiter, yet such proclamations did little to secure his safety. The paradox lies in this duality. Rulers who claimed divinity still faced the mortal fear of assassination. Caligula's death marked only one instance among many where Roman emperors walked a fine line between godhood and vulnerability. By declaring themselves gods, these leaders aimed to solidify their power over subjects already accustomed to revering deities in daily life. Yet, this self-deification paradoxically underscored their human fragility. The average lifespan of an emperor was around 29 years, far shorter than the typical Roman citizen's 25 years due to high infant mortality rates. This fleeting tenure contrasts sharply with the enduring legacy of the Roman Empire, which persisted long after their reigns. The assassination of emperors often followed patterns of political intrigue and betrayal rather than divine retribution. For instance, Commodus met his end in the year 192 AD, not through any supernatural force, but due to a conspiracy orchestrated by members of his own household. This highlights how power in Rome was as much about survival as it was about divinity. Despite their claims to godhood, emperors were constantly at risk from those closest to them. One might wonder how such precarious positions could be maintained at all. To understand this, consider the engineering feats that supported imperial authority. Roman roads covered approximately 80,000 kilometers across Europe and Asia Minor, facilitating swift communication and military campaigns. This extensive network allowed rulers to project power far beyond their immediate surroundings, reinforcing their claims to divine right through logistical prowess. The paradox of an emperor's power was further complicated by the structure of Roman society. While emperors proclaimed themselves gods, they were also subject to the whims of the Senate and the Praetorian Guard. The loyalty of these groups could shift rapidly, as demonstrated by the deposition of Emperor Romulus Augustulus in 476 AD, marking the official end of the Western Roman Empire. This instability underscores how divine claims did little to ensure an emperor's longevity. The fate of these self-proclaimed gods also underscores the unpredictability of life within the Roman Empire. While they commanded vast armies and controlled sprawling territories, their lives could be cut short by acts of betrayal or conspiracy. This duality between godlike proclamations and mortal vulnerabilities creates a fascinating tension in understanding how such rulers maintained control for even as long as they did. The empire's longevity was built not just on divine claims, but also upon robust infrastructure like its aqueducts, capable of supplying water at a rate of 150 liters per second for centuries. Yet, it is the resilience of these structures that endures far longer than any single emperor's rule. In the year 41 AD, Emperor Caligula was assassinated by members of his own guard, despite proclaiming himself a deity and demanding divine honors from his subjects. He would often command his followers to worship him as if he were Jupiter, yet such proclamations did little to secure his safety. The paradox lies in this duality. Rulers who claimed divinity still faced the mortal fear of assassination. Caligula's death marked only one instance among many where Roman emperors walked a fine line between godhood and vulnerability. By declaring themselves gods, these leaders aimed to solidify their power over subjects already accustomed to revering deities in daily life. Yet, this self-deification paradoxically underscored their human fragility. The average lifespan of an emperor was around 29 years, far shorter than the typical Roman citizen's 25 years due to high infant mortality rates. This fleeting tenure contrasts sharply with the enduring legacy of the Roman Empire, which persisted long after their reigns. The assassination of emperors often followed patterns of political intrigue and betrayal rather than divine retribution. For instance, Commodus met his end in the year 192 AD, not through any supernatural force, but due to a conspiracy orchestrated by members of his own household. This highlights how power in Rome was as much about survival as it was about divinity. Despite their claims to godhood, emperors were constantly at risk from those closest to them. One might wonder how such precarious positions could be maintained at all. To understand this, consider the engineering feats that supported imperial authority. Roman roads covered approximately 80,000 kilometers across Europe and Asia Minor, facilitating swift communication and military campaigns. This extensive network allowed rulers to project power far beyond their immediate surroundings, reinforcing their claims to divine right through logistical prowess. The paradox of an emperor's power was further complicated by the structure of Roman society. While emperors proclaimed themselves gods, they were also subject to the whims of the Senate and the Praetorian Guard. The loyalty of these groups could shift rapidly, as demonstrated by the deposition of Emperor Romulus Augustulus in 476 AD, marking the official end of the Western Roman Empire. This instability underscores how divine claims did little to ensure. Roman roads stretched over 80,000 kilometers across the empire, connecting diverse regions with remarkable precision and efficiency. These routes were not merely pathways, but lifelines that sustained trade, communication, and military operations. Each road was meticulously planned, sloping at a gradient of 1 in 500 to ensure effective drainage and longevity. This design allowed them to withstand heavy use by chariots and marching legions for centuries. Modern superhighways, while technologically advanced, cannot claim the same level of endurance as Roman roads. The ancient engineers used volcanic ash, lime, and water to create concrete that hardened over time into an incredibly durable substance. Sections of these roads still exist today in places where the empire once thrived. In contrast, modern highways are frequently repaved and repaired by teams of workers, ensuring their maintenance, but not necessarily their longevity. Maintenance for Roman roads was a community responsibility, enforced through legal obligations that required local populations to upkeep sections within their territories. This civic duty ensured the durability of the roads while also fostering a sense of communal responsibility across the empire. It's remarkable how much societal organization was necessary to sustain such an extensive network, with each road segment maintained by different groups over time. Despite the fall of Rome, many stretches of these ancient thoroughfares have survived and are still in use today, often integrated into modern routes. This continuity challenges our assumptions about progress in infrastructure development. While modern highways offer greater speeds and technological advancements, they lack the historical context and durability seen in Roman roads. These enduring structures speak to a level of engineering expertise that has stood the test of time. Roman roads were not just conduits for movement, but also symbols of unity and control. They linked distant provinces, enabling swift troop movements and rapid communications through courier systems known as cursus publicus. This network allowed emperors to exert centralized authority over vast territories, reinforcing political cohesion across diverse landscapes and cultures. The durability and efficiency of these routes were crucial in maintaining Rome's unity for centuries. The complexity of Roman road construction extended beyond mere transportation logistics. Archaeologists have discovered milestones along the roads bearing inscriptions that recorded distances to major cities and other significant points. These markers acted as early navigation aids, ensuring travelers could orient themselves accurately within the empire's extensive network. This attention to detail suggests a sophisticated level of organization capable of coordinating such an intricate system across diverse regions. Roman roads represent more than just engineering achievements. They are a legacy of human ingenuity applied to practical needs. While modern highways offer greater speed and technological sophistication, Roman roads demonstrate enduring design principles that have withstood the test of time. Each stone laid down by ancient engineers represents a piece of history, enduring testaments to the ingenuity and organizational skills of those who built them. By studying how Romans maintained such extensive networks, we can learn valuable lessons about long-term planning and community involvement. essential elements for creating lasting legacies in our own societies today. Imagine stepping into a Roman marketplace at its peak around noon. The air is thick with the mingling scents of fresh bread, roasted meats, and herbs. Each stall hums with activity as vendors haggle prices, their voices blending into a continuous murmur that's both loud and harmonious. You notice the texture of leather sandals worn smooth by countless steps, each one telling a story of distance walked and goods traded. This bustling market is not just an exchange for goods, but also a social hub where news travels as fast as the gossip. The temperature fluctuates with each stall's unique ambience. Near the fishmonger, it feels cooler due to ice brought from distant mountains. By contrast, the bakeries are warm and inviting, their interiors heated by wood-fired ovens. This daily dance of thermodynamics shapes the experience for everyone present, creating microclimates within this vast space. The sheer diversity in temperatures here mirrors the diverse origins of its goods: fruits from distant provinces, spices from across seas, and it is a testament to Rome's far-reaching influence that such variety thrives under one roof. As you weave through the crowd, your senses are assaulted by an array of textures: smooth pottery, coarse woolen garments, and rough-hewn timber. Each object has its own history, crafted in workshops scattered throughout the empire. The iron in the nails used to secure wooden crates was once part of distant nebulae, born from supernovae that predated even Rome's founding. This fact serves as a reminder of how intimately connected we are with the cosmos, each transaction in this market subtly bridging the ancient and the eternal. The marketplace is not merely a place for commerce, but also a site where social hierarchies play out visibly. At one end of the spectrum are wealthy patrons buying exotic goods, while at another, commoners haggle over necessities. This stark contrast underscores Rome's complex socio-economic structure. Despite the disparities, there exists an unspoken camaraderie among those present. Everyone shares in the communal experience of this daily ritual. It is a space where interactions are fleeting yet deeply human, each encounter a temporary connection in a sprawling urban scene. The architecture itself speaks volumes about Roman engineering prowess. Stone pillars and arches support the market's structure, ensuring its durability against time and weather. These structures not only provide shelter, but also enhance acoustics, channeling sounds efficiently so that even distant conversations are audible. This design consideration showcases Rome's commitment to functionality blended with aesthetics. The enduring quality of these buildings stands in sharp relief to the transient nature of human interactions within them, where relationships may last mere moments before fading into anonymity. At the heart of this market lies a fountain, its water gushing from an aqueduct built centuries ago. This constant flow sustains not only those who drink, but also cools the air around it, providing relief on sweltering days. The technology behind such feats of engineering is remarkable when considering that these aqueducts transporting water across vast distances at rates exceeding 150 liters per second. Yet amidst this marvel lies a poignant reality. Despite all its grandeur and sophistication, Life expectancy in ancient Rome barely exceeded 25 years due to harsh living conditions. This juxtaposition highlights both the achievements and limitations of human civilization during the empire's zenith. In the heart of ancient Rome, officials meticulously recorded every transaction, tax payment, and census detail without the aid of computers or even mechanical calculators. Their tools were parchment scrolls, quills, and an extraordinary human memory. This system was so precise that it could track millions of citizens across hundreds of thousands of square miles. Every year, census takers visited each household to record names, ages, occupations, and statuses. These officials faced the monumental task of ensuring accuracy over vast distances. Couriers traversed 80,000 kilometers of Roman roads with dispatches carrying news vital for decision-making in distant provinces. The speed at which this information traveled was remarkable for its time, though far slower than modern digital networks. The memory feats of Roman officials were nothing short of astonishing. They memorized entire scrolls of laws, treaties, and financial records. One such official could recall the precise location of every grain silo in a province, crucial information during times of scarcity or rebellion. These individuals relied on mnemonic techniques passed down through generations to ensure accuracy. Their reliability was paramount, especially given the vast distances between administrative centers. The durability of these written records is another aspect of the Roman bureaucratic system worth noting. Many scrolls have survived for millennia, offering scholars invaluable resources. The preservation of such documents speaks to both the care taken by Roman scribes and the longevity of materials they used. Materials chosen not just for their availability, but also for their ability to endure through time. These records continue to inform our understanding of ancient Rome today. Records from the Roman period often include detailed descriptions of daily life and commerce. These documents captured legal transactions and provided insights into social structures, revealing a world where every individual had their place within an intricate web of roles and responsibilities. This level of detail allowed historians to piece together aspects of Roman society that might otherwise have been lost. The survival rate of these records is remarkable given the passage of time. Some scrolls, stored in dry climates or buried under volcanic ash, have endured for centuries. Their preservation allows us to understand not just what happened, but how it was recorded and why certain details were deemed important enough to document. In a world without digital backups, these physical archives serve as a lifeline to the past, connecting us to an era long gone. Imagine stepping into a Roman marketplace at its peak around noon. The air is thick with the mingling scents of fresh bread, roasted meats, and herbs. Yet amidst this bustling scene, there existed a parallel world of paperwork and bureaucracy that kept the empire functioning. This dual reality of vibrant markets and silent documents shaped the very fabric of Roman society. The Roman Empire managed its vast bureaucracy with a system so efficient that it could track millions of citizens across hundreds of thousands of square miles. Every single year, census takers would visit each household to record names, ages, occupations, and and statuses of each resident. This was no small feat for an empire where communication traveled at the speed of horseback. In addition to financial records, Roman officials meticulously documented military campaigns, legal disputes, and public works projects. These documents are not just historical artifacts, but practical tools that guided the administration of the empire. Each entry in these scrolls represented a moment frozen in time, a snapshot of the lives of individuals who lived over 2,000 years ago. The reliance on human memory for such tasks was both a strength and a vulnerability. While officials could recall extensive details, they were also susceptible to forgetfulness or bias. This system relied heavily on repetition and cross-checking to ensure accuracy, reflecting the complexity of managing an empire without modern technology. Despite these challenges, the Roman bureaucratic system endured, shaping one of history's most enduring civilizations. The aqueducts of ancient Rome were marvels of engineering, designed to carry fresh water from distant springs and rivers into bustling cities. Each day, these conduits delivered about 15 million liters of water across vast distances, enough to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool more than 3 times over. Imagine the water flowing through a channel just wide enough for you to step inside. The walls are lined with stone blocks fit so tightly that they remain intact after millennia. This precision allowed the aqueducts to maintain their integrity, ensuring a steady supply of clean drinking water to millions. At its peak, Rome had over 500,000 inhabitants, and without these systems, maintaining such population density would have been impossible. One might wonder how this flow compares to modern systems. In contemporary cities like New York or London, aqueducts are supplemented by vast underground networks and complex treatment facilities. Yet the efficiency of ancient Roman engineering is remarkable. The aqueducts lost less than 10% of their water to leaks or evaporation over distances that could span up to 50 miles. This level of conservation was crucial in a time when energy for pumping was limited to human labor alone. The impact of these systems extended beyond mere hydration. They transformed urban landscapes by enabling public baths, fountains, and even large-scale sewage management. The aqueducts at Segovia, Spain, still stand today, their arches reaching heights that seem almost too grandiose for their purpose. Yet each stone was placed with the intent to serve a greater civic good, allowing cities not just to exist but thrive. Consider the effort involved in constructing these structures. Each aqueduct required tens of thousands of workers and decades of labor. The stones used were often sourced from quarries far away, transporting by cart or barge to the site of construction. This logistical feat highlights a paradox. While individual Roman lives were short, often ending before they reached 30 years, their monumental infrastructure endured for centuries. The aqueducts also had unexpected consequences on daily life in Roman cities. The introduction of water to homes and public spaces allowed for a higher standard of living. People no longer needed to rely solely on wells or natural springs within city limits. This luxury extended beyond the wealthy elite. Communal fountains and baths were common, giving ordinary citizens access to fresh water as well. The design of these systems also had profound effects on public health. By providing clean water, aqueducts reduced disease transmission and improved sanitation. The flow of water through pipes helped flush away waste, which in turn lowered the risk of outbreaks like cholera or typhoid fever that plagued many ancient urban centers. This improvement in hygiene contributed significantly to the overall quality of life for Romans. Moreover, these aqueducts were not just functional, but also symbolic. They represented Roman power and ingenuity on a grand scale. The ability to bring water from distant sources into cities like Rome showcased the empire's control over its territory. In some cases, aqueducts were built across formidable landscapes, such as valleys or mountains, requiring feats of engineering that would be challenging even by today's standards. The construction of these systems also fostered a sense of community and shared purpose among Roman citizens. The collective effort required to build and maintain the aqueducts created a bond between people from different walks of life. This communal spirit was further strengthened by the use of public spaces like baths, where individuals could gather and socialize. In conclusion, the Roman aqueducts stand as a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance. They transformed urban life in ways that would not be seen again until centuries later with the advent of modern plumbing systems. While ancient Rome has long since fallen, its engineering achievements continue to inspire awe and admiration today, reminding us of what can be accomplished when innovation meets necessity. Before Rome's rise to power, the Italian peninsula was home to a diverse array of pre-Roman cultures, each with its own unique traditions and technologies. One such group were the Etruscans, who inhabited central Italy from around 800 BCE until their eventual assimilation into Roman culture. Their necropolises featured intricate tombs carved directly into soft, tough stone, containing elaborate funerary goods that reveal a society with complex beliefs about life after death. The craftsmanship in these tombs reflects an advanced technical skill and cultural complexity that persisted even as they were absorbed by Rome. North of Rome, the Umbrians left behind fortified hilltop settlements known as oppida. These communities were strategically positioned on high ground, offering natural defenses against invaders. Despite their eventual assimilation into Roman culture, the architectural innovations of these early towns have significantly influenced modern city planning. The sophisticated drainage systems and well-planned urban layouts allowed for efficient water management and sanitation in an era where such amenities were uncommon. In central Italy, the Samnites emerged as fierce resistors to Roman expansion. Their mountainous homeland provided natural defenses against invaders, but also isolated them from broader cultural exchanges. The Samnite warriors were renowned for their skill in battle and their ability to adapt tactical strategies over centuries of conflict with Rome. This resilience allowed their culture to persist even after their eventual defeat, leaving behind a legacy that reflects both strength and ingenuity. The Phoenicians played a crucial role in the Mediterranean world long before Rome's ascension. Their maritime trade networks stretched from modern-day Tunisia to Spain, connecting distant regions through extensive commercial links. The Phoenician alphabet, characterized by its use of 22 consonants without vowels, was adopted and adapted by various cultures, eventually evolving into Latin script. This linguistic influence endures today in many written languages around the world. Notably, the Phoenicians also developed a system for marking their trade routes using stone pillars, which helped standardize navigation across the Mediterranean. Before Rome's expansion, the Celts inhabited much of Central Europe, including parts of Italy. Their presence is often overlooked due to their eventual assimilation into Roman culture. Celtic tribes were known for intricate art and metalworking, creating elaborate jewelry and weaponry that rival any from antiquity. These artifacts suggest a society with advanced artistic sensibilities and technical skills. Yet little of this survives in written form, leaving historians to piece together their cultural heritage through archaeological finds. Before Rome's rise to power, the Italian peninsula was home to a diverse array of pre-Roman cultures, each with its own unique traditions and technologies. One such group were the Etruscans, who inhabited central Italy from around 800 BCE until they merged into Roman culture, adopting many of Rome's customs while also influencing it in unexpected ways. Their necropolises featured intricate tombs carved directly into soft, tough stone, containing elaborate funerary goods that reveal a society with complex beliefs about life after death. The craftsmanship in these tombs reflects an advanced technical skill and cultural complexity that persisted even as they were absorbed by Rome. North of Rome, the Umbrians left behind fortified hilltop settlements known as oppida. These communities were strategically positioned on high ground, offering natural defenses against invaders. Despite their eventual assimilation into Roman culture, the architectural innovations of these early towns have significantly influenced modern city planning. The sophisticated drainage systems and well-planned urban layouts allowed for efficient water management and sanitation in an era where such amenities were uncommon. In central Italy, the Samnites emerged as fierce resistors to Roman expansion. Their mountainous homeland provided natural defenses against invaders, but also isolated them from broader cultural exchanges. The Samnite warriors were renowned for their skill in battle and their ability to adapt tactical strategies over centuries of conflict with Rome. This resilience allowed their culture to persist even after their eventual defeat, leaving behind a legacy that reflects both strength and ingenuity. The Phoenicians played a crucial role in the Mediterranean world long before Rome's ascension. Their maritime trade networks stretched from modern-day Tunisia to Spain, connecting distant regions through extensive commercial links. The Phoenician alphabet, characterized by its use of 22 consonants without vowels, was adopted and adapted by various cultures, eventually evolving into Latin script. This linguistic influence endures today in many written languages around the world. Notably, the Phoenicians also developed a system for marking their trade routes using stone pillars, which helped standardize navigation across the Mediterranean. Before Rome's expansion, the Celts inhabited much of Central Europe, including parts of Italy. Their presence is often overlooked due to their eventual assimilation into Roman culture. Celtic tribes were known for intricate art and metalworking, creating elaborate jewelry and weaponry that rival any from antiquity. These artifacts suggest a society with advanced artistic sensibilities and technical skills. Yet little of this survives in written form, leaving historians to piece together their cultural heritage through archaeological finds. In the northern regions, the Ligas posed another challenge to Roman expansion. This pre-Roman culture lived along steep cliffs and hidden coves on what is now Italy's northwest coast. Their settlements were well suited for defense, offering natural barriers against invaders. The rugged terrain and isolated communities allowed them to maintain distinct customs and dialects that persisted long after Rome's influence spread across Italy. Notably, the Ligas' resistance was so formidable that they remained largely independent until the late Roman Republic period. Let us consider the pivotal year of 27 BC, when Augustus Caesar became imperator, in fact, if not in name. This moment marked the beginning of the Roman Empire's transition from republic to principate. At this precise juncture, Augustus held Imperium Maius, an extraordinary command over all aspects of governance and military authority. Yet, he did not immediately declare himself emperor. Instead, he adopted titles like Princeps Senatus and Pontifex Maximus, carefully preserving the appearance of republican institutions while consolidating his personal power. This delicate maneuver set in motion a series of reforms that would redefine Rome's political structure. In the years following this transition, Augustus systematically dismantled republican traditions while simultaneously building a new system centered on his own authority. He reformed laws, expanded military borders, and bolstered public works without ever explicitly dissolving the Republic's formal institutions. This paradoxical approach allowed him to centralize power gradually and with relative stability. Imagine Rome at this time, a city where citizens went about their daily routines in markets and forums, largely unaware of the profound political shift unfolding behind closed doors. The construction of the Colosseum had just begun, a massive undertaking that symbolized both Augustus' desire for spectacle and his control over public life. This project was emblematic of the new order he was establishing. Augustus' reign saw significant changes in Roman governance, but it also preserved certain republican norms through carefully crafted titles and ceremonial roles. His careful balance between tradition and innovation created a political landscape that would endure for centuries. The shift from collective to individual rule was not an overnight transformation. Rather, it evolved over time as Augustus gradually eroded the Senate's authority. By 14 AD, with Augustus' death, Tiberius assumed his role, fully embodying the new Principate system. This transition marked the formal establishment of a hereditary monarchy that would last until the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD. The exact moment when the Republic became Principate remains a subject of historical debate, but it is clear that this shift laid the foundation for an empire characterized by autocratic rule and centralized power. Augustus' transition was both subtle and profound, ensuring continuity while fundamentally altering the nature of Roman governance. His approach to consolidating power was so successful that it set precedents followed by emperors throughout history. This delicate balancing act between tradition and innovation exemplifies how Rome navigated its transformation into an empire. In 27 BC, Augustus Caesar stood at a crossroads in Roman history. He had just been granted Imperium Maius by the Senate, effectively consolidating supreme power over all aspects of governance and military command. This moment marked the beginning of the Principate, where one individual held ultimate authority rather than a collective body. At this precise juncture, Augustus held Imperium Maius, an extraordinary command over all aspects of governance and military authority. Yet, he did not immediately declare himself emperor. Instead, he adopted titles like Princeps Senatus and Pontifex Maximus, carefully preserving the appearance of republican institutions while consolidating his personal power. This delicate maneuver set in motion a series of reforms that would redefine Rome's political structure. In the years following this transition, Augustus systematically dismantled republican traditions while simultaneously building a new system centered on his own authority. He reformed laws, expanded military borders, and bolstered public works without ever explicitly dissolving the Republic's formal institutions. This paradoxical approach allowed him to centralize power gradually and with relative stability. Imagine Rome at this time, a city where citizens went about their daily routines in markets and forums, largely unaware of the profound political shift unfolding behind closed doors. The construction of the Colosseum had just begun, a massive undertaking that symbolized both Augustus' desire for spectacle and his control over public life. This project was emblematic of the new order he was establishing. Augustus' reign saw significant changes in Roman governance, but it also preserved certain republican norms through carefully crafted titles and ceremonial roles. His careful balance between tradition and innovation created a political landscape that would endure for centuries. The shift from collective to individual rule was not an overnight transformation. Rather, it evolved over time as Augustus gradually eroded the Senate's authority. By 14 AD, with Augustus' death, Tiberius assumed his role, fully embodying the new Principate system. This transition marked the formal establishment of a hereditary monarchy that would last until the fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD. The exact moment when the Republic became Principate remains a subject of historical debate, but it is clear that this shift laid the foundation for an empire characterized by autocratic rule and centralized power. Augustus' transition was both subtle and profound, ensuring continuity while fundamentally altering the nature of Roman governance. His approach to consolidating power was so successful that it set precedents followed by emperors throughout history. This delicate balancing act between tradition and innovation exemplifies how Rome navigated its transformation into an empire. Let us consider the pivotal year of 27 BC, when Augustus Caesar solidified his position as the first emperor of Rome. He had just been granted Imperium Maius by the Senate, effectively consolidating supreme power over governance and military command. This moment marked the beginning of the Principate, where one individual held ultimate authority rather. Just beyond the grand amphitheater of the Colosseum lies a world starkly different from its opulent neighbor. The arena itself was a marvel of Roman engineering, with a retractable floor and intricate systems for flooding to stage mock naval battles. Each day, up to 50,000 spectators filled this vast space, eagerly anticipating the gladiatorial games or other spectacles that would unfold within. Yet behind the grandeur lay a reality far removed from the leisure of the elite. The living conditions of those who fought in the Colosseum were often dire. Many gladiators lived in cramped barracks nearby. These quarters were Spartan at best, offering little more than basic shelter for men and boys training to fight and die within the arena walls. It is difficult to imagine how these individuals could endure such stark contrasts day after day. The disparity between the opulence of the Colosseum and the squalor of its inhabitants reflects a deeper truth about ancient Roman society. The empire was built on a system of extreme inequality, where the lives of the lowest classes were often sacrificed for the entertainment of the elite. This dynamic can be seen in the fact that gladiatorial games themselves were not mere sport, but also political tools used by emperors to gain favor or control public opinion. Despite their role as symbols of imperial might, these spectacles reveal much about the human costs behind such grand structures. The arena's capacity for 50,000 spectators underscores another aspect of Roman life: the scale at which such events could be staged. While modern stadiums can accommodate even larger crowds, it is worth noting that these massive gatherings were not unique to our time, but have roots deep within history. The logistics required for such an event are immense. Food, water, sanitation, and security had to be meticulously managed. Yet, the very existence of these systems also highlights how easily life could become chaotic if even one part of this intricate web failed. The contrast between the Colosseum's grandeur and the living conditions of its participants is further accentuated by their preparation areas. These training grounds were often located in close proximity to the arena, yet they offered starkly different environments. For instance, gladiators would train on sandy floors or in small, enclosed spaces designed for practice, far removed from the polished marble of the Colosseum's interior. The sand used in these training areas served not only as a practical surface, but also had ritual significance, believed to absorb the blood of fallen fighters and purify their souls. The fate of gladiators who fought within the Colosseum was often sealed by the outcome of each battle. Those who survived might be granted freedom or even become wealthy in some cases, though such exceptions were rare. The vast majority faced a grim future where injuries or defeat could lead to death or prolonged servitude. This reality speaks to the fragility and harshness of life for those at the bottom of Roman society. Their stories are often overlooked in favor of celebrating the grand architecture they helped create. Yet, their struggles remind us of the complexity beneath the surface of historical monuments. The Punic Wars were not just military conflicts, but transformative events that reshaped the political and economic landscapes of the Mediterranean, over more than a century. In 264 BC, Rome initiated the First Punic War against Carthage, venturing into naval warfare despite its traditional focus on land battles. To compete with Carthaginian expertise, Rome constructed fleets, spending vast resources on shipbuilding and training. This costly effort stretched Roman finances, but ultimately secured Sicily for Rome after nearly 2 decades of relentless combat. The construction of one warship required approximately 100 tons of bronze and 500 skilled laborers, highlighting the immense logistical challenge. Following this victory, the Second Punic War began in 218 BC, with Hannibal's daring crossing of the Alps into Italy. This conflict tested Rome's resilience and adaptability. After a series of devastating defeats, Rome emerged victorious by 201 BC, securing Spain and Sicily from Carthage. The spoils of war included an influx of resources like silver, which fueled Roman economic expansion. This silver was minted into the denarius, a coin that became the backbone of Mediterranean trade for centuries, standardizing transactions across diverse regions. The Third Punic War concluded in 146 BC with Carthage's destruction and its territories becoming Roman provinces. Rome's victory marked not just military dominance, but also an economic reconfiguration. The newly acquired territories were integrated through roads, aqueducts, and standardized legal systems, facilitating the flow of goods across vast distances. This infrastructure network connected disparate economies under a central authority, much like modern global supply chains. As Rome expanded its reach, it faced significant internal challenges due to wealth disparities. The influx of riches from conquered lands benefited the elite while leaving the lower classes behind. Social unrest grew as economic opportunities for common citizens were limited by the concentration of wealth in fewer hands. This inequality contributed to political instability within Roman society, laying the groundwork for future conflicts. The Punic Wars also had long-lasting effects on Rome's strategic thinking and resource management. The wars demonstrated the importance of naval power and the necessity of controlling key maritime routes. By securing these trade arteries, Rome could levy taxes and tariffs that enriched its coffers and funded public works like aqueducts and roads. These projects were monumental feats of engineering, with some aqueducts delivering up to 150 liters of water per second, ensuring a steady supply for growing urban centers. The economic and political transformations wrought by the Punic Wars set the stage for Rome's eventual dominance in the Mediterranean world. This period saw the rise of an interconnected economy that spanned from Spain to Syria, with Rome at its center. Yet, this very success sowed seeds of internal strife, as wealth accumulation among the elite exacerbated social divisions within Roman society. The wars also led to significant changes in military tactics and logistics, influencing how future empires would approach conquest and governance. The Punic Wars reshaped not only the political landscape, but also the economic structures of the Mediterranean world. Rome's control over key trade routes allowed it to dominate commerce, ensuring a steady influx of wealth that supported its growing empire. This economic dominance was further reinforced by the development of sophisticated financial systems, including coinage and banking practices that facilitated large-scale transactions across vast distances. The wars also had profound effects on the cultural exchange between Rome and other civilizations. As Roman influence spread, it absorbed elements from conquered territories, leading to a rich tapestry of influences in art, architecture, and philosophy. This cultural synthesis contributed to the development of a uniquely Roman identity that would endure for centuries. However, this cultural absorption was not always harmonious. Tensions often arose between traditional Roman customs and those adopted from other regions. The Punic Wars also had lasting implications for military organization and tactics. Rome's victories in these conflicts led to significant reforms within its army, including the development of more flexible and adaptable units capable of operating in diverse environments. These changes laid the groundwork for Rome's future military successes and contributed to the empire's ability to maintain control over vast territories. The economic transformations brought about by the Punic Wars had a lasting impact on Roman society. The influx of wealth from conquered lands allowed Rome to invest heavily in infrastructure projects, such as roads and aqueducts, which further solidified its power base. These investments not only supported military campaigns, but also improved civilian life through better access to resources and services. The Punic Wars also influenced the development of Roman legal systems. As Rome expanded its control over diverse regions, it faced challenges in maintaining order across different cultural contexts. To address these issues, Rome developed a more sophisticated legal framework that could accommodate varying customs and traditions. This evolution in law played a crucial role in stabilizing the empire and ensuring smooth governance over its vast territories. The Roman Empire sprawled across continents, its borders encompassing parts of Europe, Africa, and Asia, covering approximately 5 million square miles, an area larger than modern-day America. Yet, despite this vast expanse, Rome's communication networks were alarmingly fragile. Messengers relied on horseback and human runners to traverse these distances, a system that could take weeks or even months for messages to reach their destinations. This paradox underscores the vulnerability of such an extensive empire, where decisions made in one corner might be outdated by the time they reached another. Imagine standing at the edge of a Roman road, watching a courier gallop past on horseback. The rider carries news that could alter the course of battle or dictate imperial policy. Yet the journey is fraught with risks, bandits, harsh weather conditions, and fatigue all pose threats to these critical messengers. In contrast, modern digital communication can transmit information across similar distances instantaneously. This speed highlights how Rome's success was as much a product of its infrastructure as it was hindered by its limitations. The empire's reliance on slow-moving messengers reveals the delicate balance upon which its governance rested. The construction of Roman roads required an extraordinary level of engineering precision. Surveyors used sophisticated tools to ensure that each road maintained a consistent grade, allowing for efficient travel and drainage. These thoroughfares were not merely paths, but arteries vital to the empire's health. Yet, alongside this impressive infrastructure lay the reality that such distances could easily overwhelm any communication system. In today's world, we often take for granted the immediacy of our interactions, forgetting that even in an era when empires spanned continents, information moved at a snail's pace by modern standards. This fragility exposes how Rome's otherwise robust infrastructure was subject to the limitations of space and time. Consider the Roman aqueducts, marvels of engineering that supplied water to cities with astonishing efficiency. Each day, they delivered approximately 15 million liters of fresh water, an amount that could sustain thousands of people and their daily needs. Yet, despite this feat of technology, the empire's vastness created challenges for maintaining such systems over long distances. Aqueducts relied heavily on local maintenance teams who could not always be present in remote areas, leading to potential breakdowns in supply lines. For instance, a single broken section in an aqueduct could take weeks to repair due to the difficulty of transporting materials and skilled labor across hundreds of miles. This dependence on localized labor exposes another layer of fragility within Rome's impressive achievements, demonstrating how even its most impressive structures were subject to the limitations of space and time. The Roman Empire's legal system was designed to govern a diverse array of territories and populations. Laws varied across different regions, reflecting local customs and traditions, while also maintaining a degree of uniformity. This complexity necessitated an intricate network of officials and courts to adjudicate disputes and enforce laws. Yet, the sheer size of the empire meant that these systems were often stretched thin, leading to inconsistencies in legal application and enforcement. It is fascinating to consider how this vast governance structure managed such disparities while still maintaining some semblance of order across its extensive territories. In a twist of irony, Rome's military might was both a strength and a weakness for the empire's communication networks. The Roman legions were renowned for their discipline and effectiveness in battle, but they also required constant supply lines to sustain their operations. These logistical chains often relied on the same fragile communication systems that could falter due to distance or interference. This paradoxical situation meant that while Rome's military prowess helped maintain control over vast territories, it simultaneously exposed vulnerabilities within its administrative infrastructure. The empire's ability to manage such contradictions speaks to both the resilience and fragility inherent in ancient governance structures. A Roman soldier's armor in combat weighed around 20 kilograms, a significant load even by modern standards. Each piece, breastplate, greaves, and helmet was meticulously crafted for protection and intimidation. As they marched, the weight of this equipment tested their endurance across rugged terrains. The average breastplate alone could weigh close to 4 kilograms, pressing heavily against the chest with each step. To put this in perspective, carrying a medium-sized backpack fully loaded would feel similar. However, soldiers trained rigorously to bear this load, developing strength and resilience that modern warriors might envy. The weight distribution was carefully designed, but it still required immense effort to maintain balance and agility. The leather straps securing the armor grew warm from friction against the skin, causing chafing and discomfort during prolonged wear. Despite these challenges, they were essential for holding everything in place. Each strap needed careful adjustment for optimal fit, which could take precious minutes before a mission. This ritual not only prepared the body, but also the mind, creating a psychological barrier between soldier and battlefield chaos. In combat situations, the armor's design played a crucial role beyond mere protection. It served as both a psychological deterrent for enemies and a tool for coordination among allies. The distinctive clinking sound produced by moving metal plates was an auditory marker that signaled the presence of fellow soldiers, even in chaotic battlefield conditions where visibility might be compromised. This noise could be disorienting, but also reassuring amidst the cacophony of battle. Despite its burdens, the armor was indispensable on the battlefield. It represented not just physical defense, but also a soldier's identity and commitment to duty. The effort required to move efficiently while encased in heavy metal forged an unspoken bond between each piece and the warrior wearing it. This relationship underscored the resilience and discipline of Roman soldiers who faced formidable challenges with unwavering resolve. The helmet, a critical component of Roman armor, offered more than just protection against head wounds. Its design included small openings for visibility and ventilation, but these were insufficient to fully mitigate the heat buildup inside. The confined space trapped body heat, exacerbating discomfort during prolonged periods in battle. This design trade-off reflects the delicate balance between functionality and necessity that characterized Roman military equipment. The process of donning armor before a mission was no small task. Soldiers had to secure each piece carefully, ensuring that nothing would shift or loosen under stress. Each strap needed adjustment for optimal fit, which could take precious minutes in preparation. This ritual not only prepared the body, but also the mind, creating a psychological barrier between soldier and battlefield chaos. Ironically, the very armor designed to protect often became an asset in unexpected ways. The loud clinking sound produced by movement served as a form of communication on the battlefield. It acted like a Morse code of sorts, signaling position, direction, or warning of incoming threats without verbal commands. This auditory cue was invaluable for coordination and morale among Roman troops, reinforcing their collective identity. The armor's weight also influenced how soldiers engaged with their surroundings. Each step required careful balance and strength to prevent tripping or stumbling on uneven ground. The added mass made quick maneuvers more challenging, but also lent a sense of invincibility in close combat situations. This duality, vulnerability and strength, was emblematic of the Roman soldier's experience, encapsulating both the physical demands and psychological fortitude required for survival. The Roman Empire's vast network of trade routes stretched like invisible threads across continents, linking distant cities and cultures in a web of exchange, that few people today fully appreciate. These roads were not just paths for armies or messengers. They were lifelines that carried goods, ideas, and even diseases between the empire's far-flung corners. Over 80,000 kilometers of these routes facilitated an extraordinary flow of commodities, from Egyptian papyrus to British tin, each journey contributing to Rome's economic heartbeat. Yet, what is often overlooked is how these routes also transporting intangible elements like language and religion, subtly weaving together the very fabric of Roman society. The roads themselves were not just static structures, but dynamic conduits that shaped the cultural landscape over centuries. Imagine a single merchant ship setting sail from Ostia, loaded with amphorae filled with olive oil destined for Britain. This vessel would traverse seas brimming with history and potential danger, navigating routes charted by generations of seafarers. The journey could take weeks or even months, depending on weather conditions and navigational challenges. What is remarkable about this scenario is the sheer scale of such undertakings. A single cargo could encompass thousands of individual items, each representing a specific trade agreement and cultural exchange. This process was not only essential for sustaining life in distant colonies, but also acted as a bridge between civilizations, fostering mutual understanding and interdependence that transcended mere economics. In this way, the Roman Empire's trade network served as both an economic artery and a cultural umbilical cord. Trade routes facilitated more than just material goods. They were channels for innovation and knowledge dissemination. Ideas such as architectural styles or legal concepts traveled along these paths, influencing local practices and eventually becoming integrated into regional identities. For instance, the Roman law code, known as jus gentium, spread through trade interactions, shaping legal systems in far-flung territories like Gaul and Hispania. This diffusion of intellectual property illustrates how economic activities could also promote cultural convergence. However, it is paradoxical to consider that while these exchanges enriched local cultures, they also sometimes led to the suppression or erasure of indigenous traditions. The Roman Empire's reach was not just physical but ideological, subtly reshaping identities and norms across its territories. One fascinating aspect of this trade network is how it connected vastly different environments under a single economic system. Goods from remote regions like Asia Minor reached bustling cities in Europe through complex logistical operations. For example, silk from China found its way to Roman markets via the Silk Road, a route that extended over 4,000 miles and spanned multiple cultures. This trade was not merely about commerce. It also fostered a cross-pollination of ideas between distant lands. The exchange of such luxury items as silk or spices underscored the empire's ability to integrate diverse regions into its economic fabric. Yet, this interconnectedness had unforeseen consequences. When one part of the network faltered, disruptions could ripple through the entire system. As new discoveries were made or political landscapes shifted, the trade routes evolved to accommodate changing needs. For example, when sea lanes became more secure, they often supplanted land-based trade paths for certain commodities. This adaptability allowed Rome to maintain its economic vigor despite external pressures and internal changes. The enduring legacy of these networks is evident in modern-day transportation systems that still follow ancient routes or build upon them. By observing how the Roman Empire managed its trade logistics, we gain insights into the enduring nature of infrastructure as a cornerstone for societal progress and unity. The average life expectancy in ancient Rome was around 25 years due to high infant mortality rates. Yet, despite this brevity, individuals could experience significant cultural shifts within their lifetimes. A person born during the height of the Roman Republic might witness the transformation into an empire under Augustus Caesar. This transition marked a shift from a republic with elected officials to a principate ruled by emperors. The stability that came with imperial rule allowed for greater economic integration and cultural exchange, further solidifying the trade networks that crisscrossed the empire. Roman lawyers, known as jurists, were pivotal in developing this intricate system. They argued cases before judges, offering interpretations of the law based on precedent and equity. This practice laid the groundwork for modern legal arguments, where advocates present their clients' cases with detailed analysis and historical context. The ability to interpret laws flexibly while maintaining consistency has been a cornerstone of judicial systems ever since. Roman legal principles extended beyond the borders of Rome itself, influencing cultures across Europe and Asia Minor. These codes provided a model for governance that emphasized justice, fairness, and systematic application of rules. In many ways, the Roman legacy continues to shape not only legal practices, but also societal norms regarding rights and responsibilities. The influence of Roman law can be seen in today's constitutions, contracts, and court procedures, demonstrating the enduring impact of ancient jurists on modern legal systems. Roman lawyers introduced the concept of codifying laws into written statutes, a practice that has become standard in many modern nations. Before Rome, unwritten customs often dictated societal norms and justice systems. The shift to written codes allowed for greater transparency and uniformity across vast territories. This innovation ensured that laws could be applied fairly regardless of geographic location or social status. In property law, Roman jurists established principles concerning ownership, inheritance, and contracts that still guide legal frameworks today. They recognized the need for clear boundaries in land ownership and developed systems to resolve disputes over assets. These insights were crucial not only for economic stability, but also for personal security within a rapidly expanding empire. For instance, the concept of usufruct allowed individuals to use property without owning it outright, fostering more flexible arrangements. Roman legal traditions also emphasized the protection of individual rights, even under autocratic rule. The concept of habeas corpus, ensuring no one could be detained without cause, has roots in Roman legal thought. This focus on safeguarding individuals against arbitrary power has been crucial in shaping modern democratic principles and human rights advocacy. The influence of Roman law is particularly evident in the area of criminal justice, where concepts like presumption of innocence and fair trial procedures were first articulated. These principles have become essential components of contemporary judicial systems worldwide. The idea that an accused individual should be presumed innocent until proven guilty reflects a deep-seated commitment to fairness and justice that originated millennia ago. One of the most enduring contributions from Roman legal thought is the concept of equity, which allowed for exceptions to strict legal rules when fairness demanded it. This principle recognized that rigid adherence to laws could sometimes lead to unjust outcomes and provided judges with discretion to interpret cases based on context. Equity gave rise to legal doctrines like unjust enrichment and specific performance, ensuring that remedies could be tailored to individual circumstances rather than being uniformly applied. In modern courts, this flexibility allows for nuanced judgments that consider the broader implications of a ruling. The Roman practice of appointing magistrates with specific responsibilities also influenced contemporary governance structures. These officials were tasked with overseeing various aspects of public administration, from military affairs to civil justice. This division of authority prevented any single individual from amassing too much power, fostering checks and balances that are integral to modern democratic institutions. The separation of powers in many current legal systems can trace its lineage back to these early Roman innovations. Roman law also introduced the idea of testamentary freedom, allowing individuals to dictate how their estates would be distributed upon death through wills. This concept provided a level of personal control over one's legacy that was unprecedented at the time and has since become a fundamental aspect of estate planning in many legal systems around the world. The ability to specify heirs or charitable donations reflects a recognition of individual autonomy within societal frameworks. In addition, Roman legal codes established the principle of pacta sunt servanda, meaning promises must be kept. This underpins modern contract law and emphasizes the importance of fulfilling agreements. It underscores the value placed on trust in commercial transactions and personal relationships. The enforcement of contracts ensures predictability and reliability in business dealings, which are vital for economic stability. The Roman legal system also emphasized procedural fairness, ensuring that all parties had an opportunity to present their case before a neutral judge. This principle is evident in modern court systems where both sides can argue their positions through evidence and testimony. The emphasis on due process. The Roman Forum, once the bustling heart of ancient Rome, now stands as a silent witness to time's relentless march. Weathered stones that once supported grand temples and basilicas now rest in disarray, slowly crumbling under the weight of centuries. Each stone, originally quarried from distant mountains, bears the marks of millennia, scars etched by rain, wind, and the gradual shifting of Earth's crust. Yet, what may seem like mere decay to our eyes is, on a cosmic scale, an infinitesimally brief moment in the life of this ancient site. In billions of years, Long after Earth itself has transformed into a cold, dead world, these stones will still be here, weathered but enduring, testaments to human ambition that outlast even the stars themselves. The Colosseum, with its massive arches and vast interior, now echoes only in our imaginations. Once capable of seating up to 50,000 spectators for gladiatorial games, it has been reduced to a shell of its former glory. The concrete structure, composed of volcanic ash, lime, and pozzolana, slowly weathers away under the relentless assault of rain and sun. Water seeps into every crack, expanding as it freezes during cold winters and causing further erosion. This process is akin to biological growth, where inorganic matter slowly transforms through chemical reactions. Meanwhile, deep within Earth's mantle, similar chemical reactions are continuously shaping new rocks, creating minerals that will eventually rise to the surface and perhaps one day form new landscapes. The Pantheon's dome, an architectural marvel in its own right, continues to defy the elements with its massive, unreinforced concrete structure. The oculus at its apex, a mere 16.5 meters in diameter, lets in natural light, creating a serene interplay of shadows and sunlight within the vast interior space. Over time, the humidity from Rome's climate causes calcium carbonate to precipitate out of the air onto the surface of the dome, gradually calcifying it into a harder substance. This process not only preserves, but also subtly alters the structure, much like how human bones strengthen with age. Yet, despite this resilience, the Pantheon still faces threats from environmental factors such as pollution and weathering. The ruins of Roman baths, once centers of social life and hygiene, now stand as hollow shells, their floors covered in moss. The intricate mosaics that adorned these spaces have faded with time, revealing only ghostly remnants of past opulence. As rain seeps into the cracks between stones, it initiates a slow process of erosion, gradually breaking down the mortar that holds them together. In this way, nature takes back what was once taken from her, piece by piece. The baths are reclaimed by their surroundings. Yet, these ruins also serve as a reminder of how fleeting human achievements can be, standing in stark contrast to the enduring power of natural forces. Time continues its relentless march, slowly eroding even the grandest structures into mere shadows of their former selves. Roman roads covered approximately 80,000 kilometers across Europe and Asia Minor, connecting diverse regions with remarkable precision and efficiency. These routes were not merely pathways, but lifelines that sustained trade, communication, and military operations. Over millennia, however, these roads have fallen into disrepair, becoming overgrown with vegetation or eroded by natural forces. In some places, they are now barely discernible beneath layers of soil and vegetation. Yet, the technology behind their construction remains a marvel of engineering, far surpassing what was available at the time. The durability of Roman road materials provides insight into the ingenuity of ancient engineers who understood how to create structures that could withstand centuries of use. For instance, the roads were constructed with a sophisticated layering system, a foundation of large stones, followed by smaller stones, and finally a surface layer of tightly fitted paving stones, ensuring minimal water penetration and erosion. The aqueducts of ancient Rome were marvels of engineering, designed to carry fresh water from distant springs and rivers into bustling cities. Each day, these conduits delivered about 15 million liters of water across vast distances, enough to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool more than 3 times over. Over time, however, many aqueducts have fallen into disuse or been damaged by natural disasters like earthquakes or floods. Some sections now lie buried beneath modern infrastructure, forgotten but still standing as silent witnesses to past grandeur. Yet, the remnants of these ancient water systems continue to inspire awe and admiration for their scale and precision. They offer a glimpse into the sophisticated engineering capabilities of Roman society, which allowed them to sustain large populations in otherwise arid regions. One unexpected fact is that some aqueducts were built with sloping channels so slight that they could only be measured using precise instruments, demonstrating an extraordinary level of accuracy and attention to detail in their construction. In the heart of Rome, within the Colosseum's towering walls, a gladiator awaits his fate. The arena is vast, capable of seating up to 50,000 spectators who have gathered to witness this moment. Each breath inside this space is charged with anticipation and tension. Yet, what many overlook is that this spectacle is not just entertainment. It's a ritual deeply embedded in Roman society. The emperor's thumbs up or down gesture isn't merely a signal of approval or disapproval, but a symbolic act reinforcing the empire's hierarchical structure. In this instant, the gladiator represents the broader struggle between life and death, freedom and servitude. The process by which the emperor makes his decision is swift yet profound. The crowd's roar amplifies the tension, creating an atmosphere where every second feels elongated. To a modern observer, such a gesture might seem arbitrary, but for Romans, it was a moment of divine intervention. This act underscores the belief in the emperor's godlike status, a paradoxical blend of human frailty and divine authority. Outside the Colosseum, Rome bustles with life. Merchants trading goods along the via appear, children playing near aqueducts that bring fresh water from distant springs. Yet within this arena, time compresses into an intense few seconds where the emperor's decision holds absolute power. The gladiator's fate is sealed in a moment that echoes through history, a stark reminder of the empire's control over life and death. For the gladiators, their training was rigorous, often beginning in childhood. They were taught not only to fight, but also to perform for an audience, transforming combat into spectacle. This transformation highlights how entertainment and governance intertwined in Roman society. The emperor's gesture is a culmination of this complex system, where survival depends on more than just skill. As the emperor makes his decision, it's worth considering what happens next. For those who survive, there is a chance to live another day, perhaps even earn freedom. Yet for many, their fate is sealed in an instant. This moment encapsulates the fragility of life and the arbitrary nature of power in ancient Rome. The gladiators' struggle within these walls mirrors broader societal tensions, where survival often hinges on external forces beyond one's control. In this fleeting moment, the emperor's decision transcends mere entertainment. It becomes a microcosm of Roman society's values and fears. The gladiators, trained in the art of combat, are not just warriors, but performers whose lives hinge on public approval. Their fate is tied to the whims of an audience that demands spectacle above all else. The emperor's gesture, though swift, carries weight beyond the immediate contest. It reflects a society where life and death are commodities subject to the will of those in power. This act serves as a reminder of the precarious balance between authority and dissent within the empire. For centuries, this ritual has been repeated, each time reinforcing the belief in absolute rule. Yet, amidst the grandeur of the Colosseum, there is an underlying tension. The gladiators are not just fighting for survival, but also for the audience's favor. Their performances are meticulously choreographed to captivate and amaze, a stark contrast to the brutal reality they face. This duality between the spectacle and the suffering is what makes these moments so profound. As the emperor's decision is made, it sets into motion a chain of events that ripple through Roman society. For those who survive, there is hope. For those who do not, their legacy becomes part of the arena's storied past. This moment encapsulates the transient nature of life in ancient Rome, where survival often depends on more than just physical prowess. It is a testament to the human capacity for endurance and resilience, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Amidst the bustling streets of ancient Rome, bathhouses were more than mere places for personal hygiene. They were centers of social interaction and intellectual exchange. In these public baths, water flowed through intricate systems at a rate of about 15 million liters per day. The aqueducts that fed this network not only supplied a steady stream of fresh water, but also created an environment where Romans could bathe, relax, and discuss the latest political intrigues or philosophical ideas. These spaces were often vast complexes with multiple pools, steam rooms, and even libraries. While they served practical purposes for cleanliness, their communal nature fostered unexpected connections between individuals from all walks of life. Imagine stepping into a Roman bath, your feet sinking into the warm tiles, the air rich with steam as it rises in spirals around you. The baths were heated through an elaborate system of underfloor heating called a hypocaust, ensuring a constant temperature even on the coldest days. This technology was far ahead of its time, and while modern swimming pools use similar principles, the complexity and scale of Roman engineering is remarkable. Yet, for all their technological sophistication, these spaces were not just about physical cleanliness, but also offered a sanctuary where people could meet, share ideas, and even conduct business. The baths were often segregated by gender, though mixed-sex bathing was common in earlier periods. In such settings, the social hierarchy that typically dictated every aspect of Roman life began to blur slightly. Slaves, soldiers, senators, and merchants all coexisted momentarily within these walls, engaging in conversations that ranged from the mundane to the profound. This egalitarian moment within the rigid structure of Roman society is a paradox worth noting. Here was a place where the boundaries between different social classes dissolved for a few precious hours. While the primary purpose of the baths was personal hygiene and relaxation, they also played a crucial role in public health. Regular bathing was seen as essential to maintaining good hygiene and preventing disease, a concept that would not be fully understood until centuries later, when germ theory explained how cleanliness contributes to better health outcomes. The Romans' belief in the therapeutic benefits of water extended beyond mere cleansing. It included treatments for various ailments, from sore muscles to digestive issues. This holistic approach to well-being is a testament to the advanced understanding of health and wellness that existed even 2,000 years ago. As night fell over Rome, bathhouses remained busy hubs of activity. The baths were one of the few places where people could gather after dark in relative safety, a stark contrast to the dangers lurking outside. Here, under the glow of oil lamps, conversations continued long into the evening, blending the mundane with the profound. These gatherings not only fostered a sense of community, but also allowed for the exchange of ideas that would shape Roman society in ways both subtle and significant. The bathhouses thus served as more than just places for hygiene. They were vital social centers where the empire's diverse populace could come together, forming bonds that transcended their daily lives. Architects in ancient Rome perfected the use of arches to create structures that could support massive weights while remaining stable and safe. In the Colosseum, arches spanned nearly 20 meters, evenly distributing the weight of up to 50,000 spectators during gladiatorial games. These arches were not just decorative, they were essential for the building's integrity. The Pantheon showcases another remarkable use of arch technology, with its massive unreinforced concrete dome measuring 43.3 meters across. This dome remains the largest of its kind in existence today, demonstrating a level of precision and structural understanding that was unparalleled at the time. The Romans used lightweight materials like volcanic ash and tuff to construct these domes, which allowed them to support their own weight without collapsing under gravity's pull. Interestingly, this same principle is still applied in modern engineering to ensure stability in large-scale structures. Beyond grand public spaces like the Colosseum and Pantheon, Roman architects employed arches in everyday buildings, such as Trajan's Market. This complex featured multiple levels supported by concrete arches below ground level, facilitating commerce and administrative activities above. These structures exemplify how Roman engineering adapted to meet practical needs in daily life. Each arch was carefully calculated to distribute the weight of the floors above evenly across its base. Aqueducts, another testament to Roman architectural prowess, relied heavily on arches for their construction. Spanning over 80,000 kilometers and delivering about 15 million liters of water per day, these systems were crucial for sustaining urban centers. The use of arches allowed aqueducts to cross valleys and hills while maintaining a steady gradient necessary for consistent water flow. This engineering marvel ensured that cities like Rome had access to fresh water despite their distance from natural sources. Roman engineers also utilized arches in military architecture, such as fortifications and bridges. These structures were designed not only for strength, but also for rapid construction under battlefield conditions. The Alcantara Bridge, built over the Tagus River, exemplifies this application with its massive arches that have stood intact since their construction nearly 2 millennia ago. This bridge demonstrates how Roman engineers prioritized both durability and speed in military infrastructure. The legacy of Roman architectural innovations continues to influence modern construction practices. Techniques perfected by ancient engineers are still used today in bridge design and skyscraper foundations. Every time you walk beneath an overpass or cross a suspension bridge, you're experiencing the enduring impact of Roman engineering on our built environment. The principles that allowed these structures to stand for millennia remain relevant as we continue to build cities capable of withstanding both time and human activity. Architectural mastery with arches extended even into private residences, where opulent villas featured intricate arch designs that enhanced both functionality and aesthetic appeal. In wealthy homes, arched doorways and niches were common features, not only providing structural support, but also creating an elegant flow between rooms. These spaces often incorporated elaborate frescoes depicting mythological scenes or landscapes, further emphasizing the integration of form and function. One notable example is the Villa dei Papiri in Herculaneum, which was buried by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. This villa's architecture exemplifies how arches were used to create open spaces that allowed natural light to penetrate deep into the building. The intricate design of these arches not only provided structural stability, but also contributed to a sense of grandeur and sophistication within the home. This approach to interior design showcased the Romans' keen understanding of architecture as both art and science. In addition, Roman baths often incorporated complex networks of arches beneath their floors and walls to manage water distribution and heating systems. These underground spaces, known as hypocausts, featured arched vaults that channeled warm air through channels beneath heated floor tiles. This ingenious system allowed for efficient temperature control throughout the bath complexes, creating a luxurious environment for relaxation and social interaction. The use of arches in these thermal baths highlights how Roman engineers combined practical engineering with sophisticated design to enhance daily life. The sophistication of Roman arch construction is further illustrated by the longevity of their structures. Many Roman buildings have stood for centuries, enduring earthquakes, floods, and other natural disasters due to the robustness provided by arches. For instance, the Pont du Gard aqueduct in southern France has remained largely intact since its completion around 19 BC. This remarkable preservation underscores the effectiveness of Roman engineering techniques in creating durable infrastructure capable of withstanding the test of time. Architectural mastery with arches supports massive structures. Architects in ancient Rome perfected the precision of the Roman calendar was remarkable for its time, with a year length calculated to within minutes of our current Gregorian standard. Yet, every 4 years, an extra day was added to account for the Earth's slightly longer orbit around the Sun, a leap year. This adjustment, however, occasionally led to errors due to miscalculations or political interference. For instance, in 8 BC, a leap year was mistakenly omitted, disrupting the calendar's alignment with astronomical events. The Roman calendar's complexity arose from its origins as a lunar-based system, which required frequent adjustments to keep pace with solar cycles. This system was so intricate that it took centuries for astronomers like Hygiene of Alexandria to refine it into the Julian calendar in 46 BC. Despite this refinement, errors persisted, leading to significant discrepancies over time. By the late Middle Ages, these inaccuracies had accumulated to a full 10 days, necessitating further reform. One might assume that such miscalculations were purely technical issues, but they often reflected broader societal challenges. For example, during Julius Caesar's reign, political considerations influenced calendar reforms. The decision to add an extra month in 46 BC was not just about correcting the calendar. It also served as a symbolic gesture of power and control over time itself. This act underscored how temporal precision could be intertwined with political authority. In contrast, modern atomic clocks maintain accuracy to within a second over millions of years, a level of precision unimaginable in ancient times. Yet, even today's sophisticated systems occasionally require adjustments, such as the addition of leap seconds. These corrections highlight an enduring paradox. While our understanding and technology have advanced immeasurably, the fundamental challenge of aligning human constructs with natural cycles remains. The Roman calendar's errors also had practical consequences for daily life in the empire. Misaligned dates could disrupt agricultural schedules, legal proceedings, and religious observances. For instance, festivals that were meant to coincide with specific lunar phases might occur at unintended times, disrupting communal rituals and social cohesion. This underscores how even small inaccuracies can have far-reaching effects on societal functioning. Despite these challenges, the Roman calendar's evolution reflects a persistent human drive for order in an inherently chaotic universe. The iterative process of refining timekeeping systems demonstrates resilience and adaptability. The Romans' leap year system, while effective, was not without its quirks. Initially, they added an extra month named Intercalaris to adjust for the discrepancy between lunar and solar years. However, this method proved inconsistent, leading to a period where dates were arbitrarily shifted to align with religious festivals or political events. This practice eventually created confusion, as months could be inserted at will, disrupting established schedules. The inconsistency of these adjustments had practical implications, particularly for agricultural communities. Farmers relied on the calendar to determine planting and harvesting times, but frequent miscalculations meant that seasons might not match up with expected dates. Consequently, harvests could fail or crops might rot before being collected, leading to food shortages and economic instability. This paradox highlights how a system designed to bring order could instead introduce chaos through its very design flaws. Yet, the Romans' persistent tinkering with their calendar also reveals an underlying resilience. Each adjustment represented an attempt to reconcile human timekeeping with natural cycles, even if it took centuries of trial and error. The leap year itself is a testament to this effort, embodying both precision and adaptability. It reflects the Roman approach to governance, flexible enough to accommodate necessary changes while maintaining a semblance of order. This balance between rigidity and flexibility was crucial for an empire spanning vast territories with diverse needs. Each leap day added was not just a correction, but also a reaffirmation of the calendar's purpose: to provide a reliable framework for societal organization. Despite occasional errors, the Roman calendar remained a vital tool that underpinned daily life across the empire. The acoustic design of the Roman amphitheater reveals much about societal priorities during its construction. In an empire where communication was key to maintaining control and unity, ensuring clear transmission of sounds would have been crucial. This attention to detail underscores how deeply integrated sound engineering was into broader political goals. Moreover, it highlights the practical application of scientific principles long before modern technology. The Colosseum could seat up to 50,000 spectators for gladiatorial games, each one able to hear the clash of swords or the roar of the crowd, as if they were standing right next to the combatants. Imagine standing in the center of the arena during a performance. The air is filled with the rhythmic clashing of metal and the shouts of the audience. Each sound wave travels through the open space, bouncing off the stone walls and arches before reaching your ears. This precise architecture allows for an extraordinary clarity of sound, even at such vast distances. Remarkably, this level of acoustic sophistication was achieved without modern tools like computational models or advanced materials science. Instead, ancient engineers relied on trial and error, combined with deep knowledge passed down through generations. The design of the amphitheater also accounts for variations in frequency to enhance specific sounds. Certain areas within the seating tiers were deliberately constructed to amplify particular frequencies, creating an immersive experience tailored to each event's unique requirements. For instance, lower frequency sounds like roars or screams would be intensified in certain sections, while higher-pitched noises such as metal clashing or cries for mercy might resonate more clearly elsewhere. This nuanced approach ensures that every spectator has a vivid and engaging auditory experience. What's particularly fascinating is how these ancient principles continue to influence modern architectural design. Today's concert halls and lecture theaters often employ similar techniques to optimize acoustics, ensuring that sound reaches all corners of the venue with clarity. By studying the Colosseum, contemporary architects gain valuable insights into wave propagation, resonance frequencies, and material absorption rates, fundamental concepts in acoustic engineering. This enduring relevance underscores the timeless nature of Roman ingenuity. While the primary purpose of these amphitheaters was entertainment and spectacle, their design also served practical purposes for communication within the vast empire. The ability to clearly transmit sound over such distances would have been invaluable for public announcements or even military signaling. In a time when information traveled slowly by messenger Ensuring that voices could carry across large spaces became an essential tool of governance. Today, visitors to the Colosseum can still experience remnants of this ancient acoustic magic. Although much of the arena has crumbled over millennia, enough remains intact to give modern audiences a sense of what it must have been like during its heyday. As you stand within its towering walls, listen closely and imagine the echoes of history. Thousands of voices blending into a symphony of sound that once filled this space with life and drama. The acoustics within the amphitheater were not only designed for clarity, but also for emotional impact, manipulating the audience's experience through sound dynamics. The design of the seating tiers and the central arena creates a funnel effect that channels sound upward, enhancing its intensity as it reaches higher levels. This phenomenon amplifies the emotions conveyed by performers or speakers, making their words more compelling and dramatic. For gladiators facing certain death, this acoustic enhancement could be psychologically profound, heightening both fear and tension among spectators. It's an architectural feature that turns a simple space into a theater of heightened emotion. Moreover, the amphitheater's acoustics were not static. They evolved with the events held within it. For instance, during mock naval battles known as Normatia, the arena was flooded to create water-based spectacles. The presence of water would have altered sound propagation by providing a new medium for sound waves to travel through, potentially softening certain frequencies and creating an entirely different auditory experience. This adaptability demonstrates the versatility of Roman engineering, where structures were not merely built, but also designed with dynamic use in mind. The precision of these acoustics is even more remarkable considering the materials used, primarily travertine limestone and concrete. These natural elements allowed for a balance between sound absorption and reflection, creating an environment where every sound could be heard clearly yet without overwhelming distortion. The smooth surfaces of the stone would have minimized echoes, while still ensuring that sounds traveled efficiently through the space. The audience's auditory experience was further enhanced by the seating arrangement. Unlike modern stadiums, which often feature tiered seating with uniform angles, the Roman amphitheater had a more complex layout designed to optimize sightlines and acoustics simultaneously. This meant that even spectators in distant corners of the arena could clearly hear events unfolding on stage without needing amplification systems. The result was an immersive experience where sound played as crucially as visuals in engaging the audience. Invisible forces shaped Rome's strategic positioning on ancient maps in ways that extended far beyond their physical structures. Gravity influenced how roads and aqueducts were constructed to withstand time. Roman engineers understood that by aligning these with natural inclines and declines of terrain, they could create systems that would endure for millennia. The precision required to maintain the flow of water through aqueducts is a remarkable example of this understanding. The Pont du Gard demonstrates an intricate balance between gravity and engineering. Its gradual descent over more than 50 kilometers allows water to travel with minimal loss, symbolizing the empire's control over resources. This system not only supplied water, but also facilitated communication across vast distances. Roman roads were just as meticulously designed. They connected distant parts of the empire, facilitating trade and military movements. Each road was a carefully planned route that took into account both geography and gravity. For instance, the Appian Way was constructed with gradients gentle enough to allow wheeled vehicles to traverse them efficiently. This engineering marvel allowed for swift movement of troops and goods across millions of square miles. Invisible forces also played a role in Rome's architectural achievements. The Pantheon's dome relies on a sophisticated understanding of gravity to support its massive weight without reinforcement. The oculus at the top allows light to enter, but prevents rain from entering due to the precise angle and curvature designed into the structure. This design not only showcases engineering prowess, but also highlights how Rome harnessed natural forces to create lasting monuments. The gravitational influence on Roman maps extended beyond just physical structures like roads and aqueducts. It influenced the empire's broader strategic positioning as well. By situating key cities and fortifications at advantageous points, Rome ensured efficient control over its territories. This strategic use of gravity helped maintain communication networks vital for an empire spanning millions of square miles. Gravity also played a crucial role in the design of Roman bridges. These structures often spanned deep valleys or rivers, requiring precise calculations to ensure stability and durability. One such example is the Alcantara Bridge in Spain, which has stood for nearly 2 millennia. Its arches are not only functional, but also symbolic of Rome's mastery over nature. The bridge's design reflects a deep understanding of how gravity could be harnessed to create structures that would endure for centuries. The gravitational pull on celestial bodies, though far removed from the terrestrial concerns of ancient Rome, offers a fascinating parallel. Just as Roman engineers calculated gradients and angles to ensure the longevity of their structures, astronomers today use similar principles to predict the movements of planets and stars. The force that keeps water flowing through aqueducts is the same force that governs the orbits of distant galaxies. This universal law binds all matter together, from the smallest grain of sand in a Roman road to the vast cosmic dance of celestial bodies. In Rome's strategic positioning on ancient maps, we see an early form of what would later become modern cartography. The precision with which roads were laid out mirrors the accuracy required for mapping constellations and star systems. Both endeavors require an understanding of how objects interact within their gravitational fields. This principle is so fundamental that it underpins not only Roman engineering, but also our current models of cosmology. It's a reminder that the same forces shaping the universe have always been at play, guiding human efforts to understand and shape their environment. The gravity influencing the flow of water through aqueducts or the alignment of roads was not just practical, it was also symbolic. In Roman culture, these structures were more than mere conduits. They were symbols of power and control. By mastering the forces that govern matter, Rome demonstrated its dominion over both land and resources. This mastery extended beyond the physical realm into the metaphysical, as Romans often attributed divine influence to natural phenomena. The gods themselves were believed to guide the placement of roads and aqueducts, ensuring their success. In this context, gravity becomes a silent partner in Rome's grand narrative. It is the unseen force that binds the empire together, much like it binds planets within solar systems or galaxies within clusters. This invisible hand shapes not only the physical world, but also our understanding of it. The same principles that keep water flowing through aqueducts for centuries are the ones that allow us to predict the movements of celestial bodies across. Amid the Roman Empire's rigid class structure, slaves were paradoxically among the first to be legally documented as property, a precursor to modern inventory systems. This legal recognition of human beings as chattel shaped societal norms that would endure for centuries. The collapse of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD marked the end of an era, but also set the stage for new power dynamics across Europe and beyond. With the fall of Rome, regional powers emerged, each vying for control over former imperial territories. This fragmentation led to a period of decentralization, where local governance and traditions flourished. Aqueducts, marvels of Roman engineering, supplied cities with fresh water at a rate of about 150 liters per second. These systems were crucial in sustaining large populations during the empire's peak. However, their maintenance required significant resources, which became increasingly difficult to allocate as Rome's influence waned. The disintegration of the Roman Empire also had profound implications for trade networks that once spanned vast distances. As communication lines weakened and roads fell into disrepair, commerce between distant regions slowed. This shift encouraged the development of local economies, fostering a sense of regional identity that persists today. Following Rome's collapse, the Christian Church took on an increasingly influential role in governance and cultural life. In the absence of centralized authority, religious institutions filled gaps left by the state, preserving knowledge and shaping legal systems. The Church's influence extended into education, art, and philosophy, laying the groundwork for medieval Europe. Returning to the initial paradox of legally documented slaves as property, this practice not only established an economic framework, but also set a precedent for how societies might organize themselves around the commodification of human beings. This legacy echoes through history, influencing systems that shaped modern economies, including colonialism and industrial capitalism. The threads woven into Roman society continue to influence our world today, subtly yet profoundly. The legal recognition of slaves as property in Rome introduced a complex interplay between economic systems and social hierarchies that would echo through centuries. This system not only defined the status of individuals within Roman society, but also influenced legal frameworks across Europe during the Middle Ages. Feudalism, with its serfs bound to landowners, can be seen as an evolution of these principles, adapting them to a post-Roman world. As the empire fragmented, local lords and rulers adopted similar practices, using legal documents to formalize their control over both land and people. This transition from Roman law to feudal systems was not seamless, however. The shift required reinterpretation and adaptation, leading to diverse regional laws that reflected varying degrees of influence from Roman precedents. Yet, the core idea of property rights, whether applied to land or individuals, remained a cornerstone of these evolving legal structures. In this way, the Roman practice of documenting slaves as property laid the groundwork for modern concepts of ownership and contract law. The meticulous record-keeping that once catalogued human beings in Rome now underpins global financial systems, corporate governance, and international trade agreements. This legacy underscores how ancient practices can have far-reaching consequences, shaping not just societies, but also the very fabric of economic relationships. Amidst the quiet darkness of night, imagine those ancient ledgers once filled with names, lives reduced to property, yet each a story in its own right. As our journey through time comes to an end, I thank you for being here tonight. If you enjoyed this exploration, please subscribe and leave a like. Wishing you peaceful dreams, sleep well, and good night.